What is oh, it's a little shaky. What is up, my guys? Today we'll be reacting to questions, hypothetical questions that I'm going to be asking myself and figuring out what would I do in this scenario. Now, honestly, I just looked up the term and I found a page that had some stuff on it, so I'm going to see what it is. I haven't looked at the questions yet, so I have no inside information. I have not looked at anything at all, so this is purely like raw footage of me doing this. So let's get on with the video and let's see what we can do with it, okay, guys? Whew. I hope it's nothing too weird, because I will give an honest take on this. Alright guys, we're here. I'm on this page called Twinfluence Q&A. I totally don't know what this is, so I'm not affiliated with this. I don't know anything that's going on, okay? I haven't scrolled down at all yet. I literally go to this page a minute ago. You can see the other tab I have is the search itself. So let's see what's going on, because clearly this is something insane. I'm just kidding, guys. It's not that insane, but let's see what we have, okay? Ooh. Make a deep 167 best what would you do questions to make a deep conversation. So guys, if you want to follow along, give your insight, maybe pause the video as I go along, then I want your answer compared to mine. Maybe, I'm not I'm not, what would you say, a role model for these questions, because I may not be the best insightful. I may not be experienced in some of these questions. I may not know the best hypothetical, because it does take some knowledge, some know-how, and experience to go through life and figure out things out like this. So guys, don't take it from me, and don't take it too seriously too, okay? It's just a YouTube video, because in reality things could be a lot different. So all right, best weird, I guess we can start from the beginning. What would you do if you could see into the future? What would you do if you could see into the future? What would I do if I could see into the future? I would see what I would do. I would see what I could personally do, where my family's at, what I would do, and go from there. If it was a bright future, then I'd be like, great, I'll just do whatever I was doing. If it's dark or something, then I'll be like, well, why is it dark? Like that Teen Titans episode where, I don't know who is it, Kabuya guy, Cyborg, goes to the future, and then he sees everything so horrible, and then he's like, this is insane. I don't know who sure it was, but man, that episode was so sad. I don't know, but that's what I would do. And yeah, that sums it up, I think, as simple and as best as I could do. What would you do if you found out someone from your past was planning to kill you? What would you do if someone from your past was planning to kill you? That's kind of open-ended, isn't it? From my past, I guess someone that I knew. Well, if someone's planning to kill me, I would be worried, and then figure out how much to know about me, and then go from there, and then I guess, go figure out what's going on, because that would suck. What would you do if you had the opportunity to have a wish granted? What would I do if I want to have a wish granted? That's a deep one, because initially I'm like selfish about it, but then I'm like, what if I could benefit everybody, right? Like, what if, I would wish, and this would be the best thing possible, I would wish for a resource, a machine, right? And of course, I'm not applying any kind of science to this, because then you break it down, it's not wishing anymore. But I would wish for a machine or some kind of mechanism that could create an infinite spawn of something, right? Like a machine that would infinitely spawn food, because you would solve hunger issues and wouldn't have to deal with a lot of that issue. So solve the hunger crisis, essentially just making an infinite food. So I'm not gonna break down the logistics of that, but just that would be my wish. What would you do if you were told you can never leave your house? What would I do if I could never leave my house? What would I do? Well, I'd be wondering why I couldn't leave my house, but let's say, what would I do? I would find things to have fun with. I mean, I'm always home after work anyways. Like, if I'm not home, I'm a pretty inside guy, so it's not too different. I guess my question would be, how could I get my food, and in terms of, life care and all that. So quality of life would be essentially the question, in terms of like, how am I gonna take care of myself, right? So yeah, what would you do if you were given the chance to go into outer space? I'll take pictures for myself. Yeah, I mean, there's already a bunch of pictures, but there's really not much you can do in space. I mean, I guess if I could go as far as I could, then I would go as far as I could, right? But that would just be essentially exploring space. But what would you do if you found out your boss was embezzling company funds? Holy cow, this is really niche. I would find a way to stay anonymous to report it because I feel like anyone that is a boss essentially embezzling funds would be crazy enough to hire someone to kill you. So I would find a way to keep it anonymous and report it because why would you, no, that sounds silly. What would you do if you found out you had a brother or sister you have never met? I would meet them. So be like, what's up? How are you doing? How are we related? All that kind of funny questions. What would you do if you had 2 weeks free to do anything you wanted? Anything I wanted, huh? If I had 2 weeks, anything I wanted to do, anything. 2 weeks, travel. I would like to travel the United States. I mean, not necessarily the United States, but the country, the world, I guess. Like, free of not having to worry about money, just all that kind of stuff. Just be like, I'm gonna check it out, right? I'm gonna go that way, or I'm gonna go this way. I'm gonna go this way or that way. Any way I want to go, just see what's up, right? Kind of like Minecraft, where you like first spawn in and then you see like the hills, and you're like, I can go over there, and you go over there, and then you're like, I need to eat, and it's dark, and I lost everything. So something like that, right? What would you do if you knew you would go blind in 2 months? That's a really dark question. God damn. I would look at my kid. I would look at my son and hug him, kiss him, memorize his face as much as I could. Just look at him for so long. And it would be ingrained in my head, so I could always see him in my head. Yeah. And maybe go to like Hawaii, just so I could see Hawaii. Like, have a nice tropical beach or something, and just see like this, the horizon. Something like that. Okay, what would you do if you had to choose between wealth and fame? Wealth, obviously, because what would you be famous? I mean, if you had to choose between, so I guess if I had to break it down for what it was worth, it's asking you would you rather be famous or wealthy. Okay, and they can be exclusive. So fame, obviously, because what would I want to be known? Like, if you're really famous, people are always going to talk to you and chase you down. So it's like you don't get no peace of mind if you want to go to some fun. But if you have wealth, no one really knows you, right? So it's like you can do whatever you want and no one cares. You can literally, do whatever you want. No one's going to take a picture of you. Easiest one. What would you do if you found out you could talk to animals? I wouldn't go to zoos because I feel like it would be like, hey, I'm a conscious animal and I'm stuck here. Help me, And then I couldn't enjoy the zoo. Like, I'd be like, oh my God, this is immoral. Or maybe some of them would be okay with it because they're like, okay, well, if I'm here, I'm not being hunted down, right? But maybe the predators would be like, hey, let me out, let me make a deal with you, and then, we can be cool or something like that, right? But no, so I wouldn't go to zoos, and I would avoid forests because I would find animals, and then, and then they would be like, hey, my uncle got ran over. Do you know where he's at? I'd be like, no, that happens a lot actually. And then I wouldn't want to tell a little deer about roadkills and then spark like an uprising of deer and animals hunting humans or something. Okay, question number 12. What would you do if you began to have uncontrollable bouts of crying or anger? Uncontrollable bouts? What would I do? I would find a way to recognize the trigger before it would happen, and figure out something, right? Because my life is pretty normal in terms of work, or pretty much the same. So I would talk to my employers, I would talk to my family, talk to anyone that interacts with me on a daily basis, and be like, hey, I might cry or get really angry, but that's something that's regulated by my emotions, my chemistry in my head. So yeah, I'll figure out a way to cope with it and let everybody know. So that would be it. What would you do if you only had 24 hours to live? Hug my kid. Look at the world. See how beautiful it is. Because it is a beautiful world. It's an abundance. Like, look at this. It's an abundance place. It's such a beautiful place. It's like, people ask, I used to be like, oh, I bet heaven's crazy. I bet heaven's awesome. But it's like, when I see this, I'm like, this would be a heaven. I mean, not necessarily the financial, political world that we live in, no. But, you know, if I woke up and said, hey, this looks nice, like, look, it's a nice sky. I mean, you just know there's abundance here. Like, there's abundance here. That's the beauty of it. It's like, it's all here already. You don't look around, smell the roses, you know, go a walk, look at things, look at nature, see how beautiful it is. Like, all this was before you were here, for the most part. It's like, if you just look at it and say, man, this is great, you can appreciate it and feel like you're part of it, because you are part of it. You're here now, and, well, enjoy it, because that's all we have. And theoretically, I mean, you never know how long you're gonna live for, so it's like, appreciate what you have. And that doesn't mean go crazy and do whatever. It means, you know, enjoy it, because you never know when the ride's over, but have a good ride. Yeah. What would you do if you were rich? Well, pay off all my debt, pay off my family's debt, all that fun stuff that everyone does. And then maybe travel the country, the world, like I said before. Just see places, talk to people. Funny thing is, people I've met, my work coworkers, they're so insightful. So it's like, you can meet so many people that have such, I'm like, it's almost like, man, I wonder how many people I would be such deep friends with if I could know them, if I could go around the world. Because it's like, it's not a coincidence that I have met people that have such great stories, have like such unique personalities in such a small area. Like, I haven't gone too far. I've been in my place like the whole time, and I've worked in public places, as in like I've worked with anyone that's unique, like high talented or anything like that. So yeah, I just meet people, I guess, not like in a relationship wise, I'm already married. No, like just meet people and talk to them, do activities, stuff like that, because sometimes the people with the most funny stories, I feel like, the people that, struggle. And people that struggle and, have funny stories. What would you do if you found out you could stop time? If I could stop time, what would you do if you found out you could stop time? Well, that would change my entire... I couldn't really know, because my first thought is, okay, I have work to get done. Let me get it done in one session. But if I'm so aging while time is stopped, if I'm taking these 5-hour lapses of time where I'm working on homework, editing videos, making videos, whatever it is, right? It's like, I'm so burning my light. So if I'm always using up time and I'm aging, I'm gonna age a lot faster than anybody else at whatever rate they are. Now, obviously nothing's guaranteed in life, but let's just say everything is guaranteed in life. And ages, we all age the same age. I'm gonna be older. I'm gonna die a lot younger when, they're 50. I'm gonna look like 60, because eventually through all that time that accumulated, I'm gonna be older. So I probably wouldn't stop time unless it was really necessary. But yeah, so yeah, I would use it sparingly. That's my answer. Number 16. What would you do if you were swimming and lost your bathing suit? Well, depending on the context, I guess I would have to ask someone nearby and be like, hey, I lost my bathing suit. Could you please give me a towel or something, or maybe figure out a way to get everybody inside the house, or whatever the context. Let's say public pool, like, it's like, just help me out, okay? Like, I'll pay you for the towel, whatever. Like, I don't know, something like that, right? Just figure. It's just damage control at that point. Number 17. What would you do if you were the ruler of a country for a day? Ruler for a country for a day. I wouldn't do anything. Maybe, I don't know, make it a holiday for like pizza or something, because I would be killed the next day. I would be killed the next day by anyone. So if I were to drastically change the world, I mean, obviously like the next day they're gonna change it back anyways, but now everybody hates me some way, some form, like, so just make it a holiday, because if you make it too serious, someone out there that's just isolated and completely nuts is gonna be like, yeah, this is the devil, and then kill me or something silly. What would you do if you found a bag containing a large amount of cash? Again, context for this one, but let's just say I'm affiliating myself. I found it, walk into the trash, and I saw a bag of cash. I would leave it alone because I feel like it's pretty rare to find money, let alone a bag of money. And that money could be for something. That could have been someone's dirty work. And I wouldn't want to get between that dirty work, because if you get between dirty work, you're gonna get dirty. So no, leave it alone. What would you do? Report it to the authorities, I guess. What would you do if you were suddenly poor and homeless? What would you do if you're suddenly poor? Well, I'm already poor, but I'm not homeless. So work harder, I guess. What would you do if you were invisible? If I was invisible, I mean, I guess like, accept that I'm invisible. You know, I guess I'm thinking like, I'm invisible, but I'm still physically like there, like I'm still physical matter. So I could splat my body with paint or wear clothes. So I guess it'd be interesting if I wanted to do stuff, like go out, but you know, sneak into like amusement ride parks, I don't know, museums, I guess, but I feel like I'd be caught pretty quick if they knew there was someone invisible. What would you do if your cell phone fell in the toilet? I would immediately put it in rest, I believe, and then try to fix it. Yeah, something like that. What would you do if you were kidnapped? Wonder why I was kidnapped. So, why was I kidnapped? Guys, come on. What did I do? You know? Figure a way out. What would you do if you were in a public restroom and discovered there was no paper? Wait for the next person to come in, say, hey, this is kind of weird, but could you mind getting me some paper or figure in some way to tell a worker in this place to help me out? And that. So, pretty simple. What would you do if you were given superpowers? If I was given superpowers? Okay, well, if I was given, I guess my first question would be which superpowers, but if I was given superpowers, I would probably hide them for as long as I could until I realized how I could use them or figure out a way to publicly, because if I had superpowers and no one else had superpowers, nations would be hunting me down, okay? Scientists backed by governments with evil intentions would be trying to get me down. They'd be like, this guy can fly. Let's kidnap him, extort him against his family or something, and we're gonna dissect him and then figure out how he got his powers. And if we don't figure anything out, then oh well. But if we do, then great. Now we have super soldiers and war is good. That's the realistic thing, buddy. Oh, hey. Here we go. Oh, okay, it's probably good. What would you do if no one was watching? What would you do if no one was watching you? Well, I guess I'd be filming a YouTube video, wouldn't I? Because my kid's asleep and my wife's gone. So I do this when no one's home, or essentially when no one's, here, because obviously I don't want to call my family, especially my kid, because, internet people. So no, this is what I'll be doing. This is what I'm doing right now. So, interesting question, right? What would you do if you had... Okay. Okay, I get it now. This is like kid questions, because what would you do if you had an adult's abilities? I'm an adult. Do YouTube videos. This is free will, okay? You have to realize that you have to have some intention, some purpose, to, some little project at least to do fulfill yourself in life. And this is what I'm doing. I'm fulfilling my life by making YouTube videos, by making some fun kind of content that you would like, that someone would laugh and say, hee, I love this content. I want more of it, right? I want someone to laugh at my content. I want someone to come home from work and be like, oh, look, Diego posted a video, yay. And then they watch the video, they got fucking food on them. They just ordered food. They're with their partner, they're having a good time. They watch my video, and it's a beautiful night, okay? I want them to have a beautiful night. I want them to feel special, okay? And that's it. Feel good. So that's it. If I had adult abilities, I would want the ability to make people feel good. That was loaded. What would you do if everyone disappeared into thin air? I would be horrified. And if everyone, I would cry. I mean, I couldn't, not to use my terminology here pretty carefully, but I wouldn't like off myself. Because I'd be questioning why I was the one alive. Like, am I supposed to bring them back? Like, Thanos snapped them back or something? So, not to get too serious about it, but I would be very sad. It would be extremely, extremely sad and isolating, and I would be extremely paranoid. Because if animals were still here, the world would slowly go back into animal world, and I would just be confused and probably drive myself crazy, to say the least, because you need human interaction, okay? I'm an introvert, but yes, I need human interaction. I need to talk to people about my day. I want people to talk to me about their day. I need human, connection. So I would slowly develop a crazy mindset and probably make puppet friends and probably cope with the loss of my loved ones. So yeah, what would you do if everyone was happy? If everyone was happy, what would I do if everyone was happy? I would be happy too, okay? Because I'm generally a happy guy, so happy makes happy. What would you do if you could make dreams a reality? What would you do if you could make dreams a reality? If I could make someone's dream a reality, then I would want to ask what their dream was. Because if it's something like, I want 1 million bitches or something, I'd be like, no, because I'm not fueling your toxic masculinity, machismo shit. Oh no, bro. Like, if someone said, I want to help my mom, my dream is to have a lot of money and help my family, I'd be like, done. I want to save people from deadly viruses, done. I want there to be no more food problems, done. I want, I don't know, a nuclear bomb, no. Like, I would start charging money. Some would be free, some would be a lot of money. Depending on how selfish the dream was, then I would make it cost money, right? Somebody wants to look amazing when they already look fine. And they're like, okay, that'll be $10. Someone wants to, I don't know. It'll be policies, build a business on it. Anything that'd be selflessness, that'd be selfless. Free. Anything selfish, it would be scaled to a quantity amount of money. So there you go. What would you do if I were the president? A lot. And I would lose my hair by the end of that term, but I would do a lot, and I'm gonna keep it like that. Wait, what were these questions? Okay, I reached the wall here. What would you do best? What would you do? Oh, these are the best ones. Okay. Now we're into the deep questions. Okay, I'm gonna skip these because they're kind of like a little silly. What would you do if your friend steals from you? They wouldn't be my friend anymore. You'd be like, why would you steal from me, dude? Like, I thought we were friends. And that's it. What do you mean? I'm not gonna excuse someone stealing. It's like if I find out somebody was racist, they're no longer my friend. Simple question, simple answers, guys. Come on. What would you do if the police tried to arrest me for no reason? That sounds like America every day. So I would be outraged, guys. Come on. What would you do if you lose all you have worked for in life overnight? Well, I worked for a lot of things. So, I don't know, devastated to say the least. That's at least the one thing. Okay. Funny, what would you do questions. Those deep questions, maybe it wasn't, I'm not going to get into it because deep questions have deep answers. So, I'm going to skip those. So, don't worry about that, guys. What would you do if you were God? Wow, if I was God, sheesh. Well, I guess God has omnipower, omni-abilities. He's everywhere, all at once. So I would listen to the world and hear their problems, and then go from there. And I would be busy for eternity, but that doesn't matter because I'm eternal. So I guess theoretically I would solve the problems eventually, but yeah. What would you do if there's no reason to live? What? Funny questions? That is not a funny question. That is horrifying. What do you mean? How is this a funny question? What would you do if there was no reason to live? What would I do if there was no reason to live? What kind of question is that? This is like a teenager question thing. Like, you really asking a teenager that? Because they're gonna be like, wait, what? Like, they're gonna start thinking about this and be like, what parameters does it make it a reason for it? Okay, so it's like, was there no reason to live to begin with? And then they question their identity, they start questioning their life, they start questioning things in life, like, is there ruling, is there, is there destiny? But if there's not destiny, then who's controlling things? If there's no control, then how are we a society? How are rules made? What does religion mean? Okay, so what would I do? What would you do if there's no reason to live? What would I do if there was no reason to live? I would find a reason. my guy, that is the kind of life, my dude. You find a reason to live. Okay? Absurd nihilism, perhaps? Okay? Come on. What would you do if your worst enemy became the boss in your place of work? Well, if it was my worst enemy, then I would be like, dang, they're gonna make it hard on me. And I'd figure out a way to get a different job. So, simple as that. What would you do if you have to sacrifice someone you love to live, or you die? Okay, what would you do if you either have to sacrifice, it's kind of worded funny. What would you do if you have to sacrifice someone you love to live, or you die? I would die. I would make it quick. That's it. What would you do if you had the power to go to the future and the past? Well, there is a movie. I forgot what the name was, but essentially, the guy has this power that his dad passes him on, and then he can go back in time like his dad was. But then he has a kid, and then he goes back in time, and then but when he goes back into the future to normal modern time when he was at, he has a different kid, even though he didn't affect the timeline. He didn't affect anything that happened that night, but things changed so drastically that his kid was different, and he never saw his kid again. Or I think he might have saved his kid, but he realized that once you have kids or whatever, like, it completely changes the life you had. So I would be very careful about going to the future and past and seeing things that I don't want to see. So yeah, but I would go in the past a lot. No, I couldn't. Now that I have a kid, I could only go as far as I could go with my kid, because if I did things differently, I may not have the kid I have now. So even if I change things for the better, financially, I would never be able to see my kid, and I would be really sad. It's like, now it's my buddy, and I lost him, and I can never see him again. So yeah, I would definitely go as far as past as I could before after my kid was born, and that's it. So future, maybe just a little bit. Maybe go see the movies. Maybe go like 100 years into the future and see what movies there are, and be like, hey, it's Mad Max 8, and watch that. Well, I guess if there's society, so if I went 500 years into the future, that'll be interesting, wouldn't it? What would you do if you found out you are not the father and mother of your kids? Wow. I would be like, wow. But I already developed a relationship with let's just say hypothetically, this kid. It's like, I still cared about him. I would be really upset depending on what happened, but I wouldn't take it out on the kid, because in this hypothetical, that kid is, we're connected now, and family is made through connections, not just through blood. So I wouldn't lose connection to him, because that kid doesn't know anything. That baby didn't know anything. That baby doesn't know anything. So why would I let him be affected? Why would I, I'm his father, as far as so that's it. What would you do if you woke up and the house was on fire? How are these funny, dude? What the hell? Escape. What do you... Wait, they're cynical, because look, it's what would you do? Number 8, what would you do if you woke up and the house was on fire? Was on fire? Okay, well, figure out what happened. Number 9, what would you do if you woke up and the house is on fire? I would leave. What are these questions? Was and is. They're insane. These aren't even fun. How are these funny? How are these funny questions? How are these funny questions? What would you do if love is something you buy from the market? I would buy some. I would buy love. You know, we need it. Weird questions. Okay, what would you do if you... That wasn't even funny, so I don't even know what's gonna be weird. Like, the parameters are so off. What would you do if you met an alien? I would ask him where he's from, ask him how smart he is. I guess if he came to us, I would ask him about stuff in space. So yeah. Number 2 is, what would you do if you had a chance to fly into space? I kind of answered that already, so I just look around and stuff. What would you do if you could go back in time and give your parents advice before you were born? What would I do? Invest in stocks, I guess. I don't know. Well, what the? Dude, what? I'm not answering this question. I'm just gonna read this question. What would you do if you had the chance to end all war by killing 10 innocent children? Dude, that is a weird question. But why is it so heavy? Like, why is it so dark? Weird supposed to be like, you know, hot dog or cheeseburger. Like, hot dog or cheeseburger, you know? End all war. The trolley question, right? Skipping that one because that's gonna get clipped. What would you do if you had the opportunity to travel once? Time travel once. I guess, could I go back in time? Like, I mean, could I go back here or not? But I'm assuming you can go back because you'd kind of be lost if you travel somewhere. I would go in the future and just see how things are. Like, not even my life, just society. That's all it would be. What would you do if reincarnation was real and you could choose what animal you could become in your next life? It's kind of like 2 questions, but what animal? Maybe an iguana or like a gecko or lizard or something. That'd be kind of fun. What would you do if you were given 3 wishes? I would think about them. I would think about those 3 wishes and make them last for a while. What would you do if your mother turned into a zombie right in front of your eyes? Well, that ain't my mom anymore. That's a zombie with a mom skin, so there's that. What would you do if you fell into a gorilla's enclosure? That's a 2016 question. I would I guess try to act like I'm not a threat. I think laying down, fetal position, that's my only... That's all I could say. I mean, besides maybe I would take a quick glance and see if I could like exit, but if I can't, I'm not gonna bother because a gorilla's gonna rip me in half. What would you do if you could switch gender for a day? Get humbled because, you know, females have it pretty hard, and like they do, bro. Like, let's be completely honest. Females have it hard, okay? Like, if you're a baddie, dude, you're gonna be looked at, okay? Like, you're gonna be looked at everywhere you go. People are gonna look at you, okay? And that's horrible. And if you smile at a guy, they're gonna think they're in love with you, and then they're gonna have this skewed idea of who you are, and then just think you're gonna want them. And then if you don't want them, it's like the person already developed this whole story between you guys, and you know, now you ruined everything. It's like now they hate you. So being a woman is already hard enough as it is, but if you're actually like, if you're, you know, attractive and everything, you're gonna be objectified, hated by both sides. Like, it just sounds like a mess. So I would be really humbled and learn a lot. So yeah. But I'm gonna end it here, guys, because it's already been like 34 minutes on this one. So if you guys want me to keep doing this, let me know. All right, peace out, guys.